So, the Wasia project was formed in 2019 by siblings Will, Gal and Olivia Hardy. Their mixed British East Asian heritage and classical training inspired them to write songs which incorporate a diverse mix of genres, including jazz, bedroom pop and classical. Following 4 independent singles and the addition of a live band, the siblings embark on their next stage of their development, returning to songwriting at its most basic level, an idea, a pen and, of course, a piano. Fans of Will Gal will also know he's currently starring in Netflix-acclaimed LGBTQ show Heartstopper as Teo. So let's talk about all things Wasia Project and Heartstopper. Will and Olivia join me live now. Evening to you both. How are you?
Hi, we're good. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. How's your Sunday been? You can't just telling me off air that you've been busy rehearsing.
Yeah, we've been rehearsing. We've got a show next week in London, and we were just doing our final rehearsal before we do that.
Oh, very, very good. So obviously, tell me about your backgrounds first of all. How do you both get into starring in a band as siblings?
Well, I guess we've, from very young, been classically trained. I started with the violin, William with the piano. And we did a lot of music, growing up in school. And after all that, I think we just realized we could write songs and write together. And that's basically when it started a few years ago, where we realized we could mix both of our songwriting stuff, yeah.
And has that been since a young age as well? Have you been sort of very talented musicians right from sort of go, really?
Well, we started learning our classical instruments from a very early age. I started piano at the age of 4, and you started violin
at the age of 3 or something. Crazy like that.
For quite a while. But it's been a long journey. But recently, we've discovered pop and jazz. I think when we were 13, 14,
yeah,
and that kind of really opened our ears to what's out there, and how much music we can actually create. It's not just all classical,
Yeah, and what kind of your musical influences then growing up?
For me, the great thing is we have it's such a broad range. So I love classical composers like Debussy, Ravel, but also Queen, Billy Joel, and then Rex Orange County for me now, and Easy Life, these upcoming these big artists. And for you, it was
growing up, our dad always loved to show us his favorite genres of music, Frank Sinatra, all of his time stuff. But I think as we got into pre-teens and teen years, for me, Billie Eilish is a massive inspiration. People like Lana Del Rey, Phoebe Bridgers. But yeah, those are our individual inspirations kind of mold together.
Fused, I think a very broad range, yeah.
And I was going to ask you about that actually, because you've had 4 independent singles out so far, and your music you make is all quite diverse, isn't it? Really, sort of jazz, bedroom pop, and classical, and it's bringing all that together, but it works.
Yeah.
In a weird way, yeah. And I think we didn't always expect it to work, but I was like, what if we just go for it and just fuse all these genres and see how they work together?
There aren't really any limits to what you can create.
Yeah.
Would you say then you had a sort of certain style or genre, or are you kind of always evolving that process as you're kind of going through the music and writing new music and new albums and EPs?
Yeah, I don't think we have, when we're songwriting, a specific genre in mind. I think our style is something very intrinsic to us. Personally, I think I'm more of a pop oriented, as in I listen to a lot more pop, and William's really, really into jazz. So when those two fuse, it does create a certain specific sound. But again, there's no limit or specific box that we try to fit into when we write.
Yeah, I think we're always evolving in a way, and I think all artists evolve, but I think we've created a rough sound, but we want to continue evolving and change as we grow older. It's such a weird change from the age of 14 to 23, that bracket is.
Yeah,
we go through
there's a lot of change,
a lot of changes within our music as well, I think.
And then for you, Will, as an actor, has that always been a sideline to music, or have they both been important to you?
Oh, good question. I get asked this a lot now. I think always it was acting as at the forefront, but music's played such an important role in my life, and in the last 3 or 4 years, they've become equal priority, and I love doing both. And what's great is keeping a balance between both, and being able to go and do shows like a TV show, and then going off and when we made the EP, it was just such a great balance, and I love that.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about the EP actually. So obviously your new EP, How Can I Pretend, came out just recently. Can you tell us a little bit about the EP and the songs on it?
Yeah, so I think the main objective of the EP was to kind of showcase our very first songs that we ever wrote.
Yeah, introduce our sound. I think they're basically a compilation of all of our first songs. And we wanted to introduce the sound of Wasia, basically.
Yeah, we wanted to get rid of the first songs. We've had them marinating for so many years now. It was let's just get Impossible out. She's had it since she was 14, and it's let's just get it out to the world, and then we can move on to like our new stuff.
It's really exciting because they have been there for a long time, and being able to share them with people has been like a really cathartic process, I think.
Yeah.
And Impossible is obviously is the track we're going to play after the interview. Can you tell us particularly about that track? Because you said that's very important to you then if you've had it for so long.
Yeah, I mean, it was my very first song that I sort of completed and thought, oh, I can take this somewhere and I want to experiment with it. I took it to William, and when we worked on it in the studio, I mean, it has had a story of its own in a way, because when I originally wrote it, it was a very like lullaby, smooth, very mellow track. But when me and William worked on it together, I think we tried to vamp it up and hype it up. So it was a very interesting process in the studio, because it sort of evolved the song in its own right. But
we had a lot of fun making it as well, like with the music, with all of us. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And it's a very beautiful song as well.
Thank you.
We're going to play it in just a second, and I do want to talk about your live shows. But, Will, if for just a second you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about Heartstopper and kind of the huge success and popularity of the show. I mean, yourself, Kit, Joe, Yaz, just to name a few of the fab cast, have all been so great in the show. Did you think it would be as successful as it was? And was that your main first acting job?
No, I did a lot of theatre before, but obviously theatre's never as big as the stage of kind of television, and specifically like Netflix.
Yeah,
it was a real shock for me. I mean, I had no idea it was going to be that big, but I loved it. I knew we were making something special, but I didn't know it was going to become that kind of huge and blow up as much as it has. It's amazing, and it's just wonderful to see how we've all grown from those my first ever time on a TV set, and then just kind of now at the end of the process, not at the end of the process, we've got 2 more seasons to go.
I'm going to ask you about that in a second actually, but go on, sorry.
It's wonderful, and it's crazy, it's nuts, but it's beautiful and wonderful at the same time. I'm feeling very excited.
And I was going to ask you, what are you most proud of with Heartstopper, and what is your favourite scene from the show?
Oh, good question. My favourite scene would have to be all those scenes in the arcade. Were really fun to shoot, because we were there for like 3 days, and we got to kind of play in the bowling alley. I lunch break. Also, a scene I had with Kit at the end of the show, like in episode 8, where we this quite long scene, and I really enjoyed filming that with him. But yeah, Heartstopper, great story. I just love the story, and it's so beautiful and really important, I think, especially like now for young people in the community to look up to, And
I was going to say, actually, obviously, while the show is kind of aimed at a younger audience than, say, sex education, it's also affected kind of older members, isn't it, as well, of the LGBTQ community who have watched the show, myself included. I suppose it's made a lot of people feel joy, melancholy at seeing such a beautiful, positive queer story that they didn't have growing up and missed out on, maybe. So how does that make you feel as an actor, that it's kind of affected maybe a difference as part of the society as well, not just young people?
Well, I'm very moved. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's been a lot of people that have come up to me, and they're in their 40s, their 50s, and even as old as their 70s, and they say, this is the show that I never had growing up, and my life would have been so much easier if I had this show to look up to. And that's really moving for me, and I'm so grateful that I've managed to give so much joy, and all of us have given so much joy to so many people.
Do you think also that's a testament to the way Alice Osman has written as a graphic novel as well? Absolutely.
I mean, Alice's vision is just like undisputable. It's just so great, and had the vision from very early on, and I have all the respect for her. Love you, Alice.
And on Friday, of course, as you were just saying, that it was announced quite hot off the press that Heartstopper has been renewed in a rare multi-season deal for 2 more series. How does that make you feel? And will you get to see you and Elle's relationship developing further on screen, do you think?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing that friendship blossom into something more. And Olivia's very excited as well.
I think everyone's excited.
I'm very excited. And it's crazy that it's 2 more seasons. Normally Netflix aren't kind of, that's not a norm. So it's great that we're going back for rounds 2 and 3.
And I probably don't know this yet, but I don't suppose you know when it's going to drop on the TV, or you've probably not heard anything about when it will be filmed. And
I have no idea. I mean, they've just said they just gave me that emoji.
The two, yeah.
Like, I'm literally completely in the dark, but I'm looking forward to whenever they do tell me.
Oh, cool. And obviously, you were talking about at the start, obviously, prepping for your gig. Obviously, next week, Wasia Project, you've got some gigs coming up, and one is sold out, isn't it, at the Fiddler in London next Friday, which is great. You must be so pleased with that it's sold out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really small venue, but it's really exciting because I think it would be one of the last like intimate venues that we're able to do. But yeah, it's exciting.
It's really exciting, and we have such a great kind of band together, and we've had so much fun today, just playing the tracks again, because we haven't played in a while now, and it's just the greatest feeling. And I'm so looking forward to playing for the EP live straight through. And it's our first time,
Haven't you got also had to recruit some new musicians as well to make the band up? Because it was just the two of you before, wasn't it, as well? So you've got a great kind of, crew behind you.
The live show, we have Tom Pasiti, who plays bass, and Luca Wade on the drums. And I went to school with them, and they've kind of been with us in live shows since day one. And they're just the greatest. And actually, I think they've been playing ping pong. But they're outside. But we've had so much fun. They're really talented, hot musicians at the moment. Yeah.
And will you have more gigs coming up? And can we expect you to be here in Manchester maybe in the future?
Maybe,
yeah.
Up north?
I will. We can't say anything yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure we'll be touring within the next year, hopefully. And yeah, definitely we'll probably start with the UK tour, and I think that's very exciting. And Manchester's obviously on the.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Manchester's where it's at. I love Manchester.
Oh, good. I'm glad to see you up here. And what has been your plans, obviously, with Wasia going forward for you and Will, and any future acting roles you may take on? Are you trying to keep them both going? Obviously, you still want to act, and obviously want to do things with the project as well.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all about balance and stuff. And you're a very busy person as well.
Yeah, I'm still studying.
Are you as well?
we're balancing quite a lot at the moment, but we both have a very, I think, vivid goals. Vivid goals of where we want to take the project and what we want to do with our songwriting, how we want to grow.
Certainly like an album, definitely looking in the next year.
Okay, great.
Towards an album. I think that's one of our primary goals.
And we do just want to move it forward and grow with it.
And just play. We just love playing music live, and that's a really special part of it for me. And that's the most joy I get, is playing in front of people. And
busy writing, I assume, then, if an album's on the way as well. Still busy writing as well as doing everything else?
A lot of writing.
Is that process easy, do you find, then? Or does that come quite naturally?
I'm very lucky that I kind of feel very liberated at the moment with my writing, and I feel like I can, I've been on a good run at the moment.
I think it does depend. I think at times it can like hit you, as William is saying, like you get into the flow of things. I think songwriting at its rawest is probably the easiest part for me. But when it gets into the studio and it's sort of like the sorting and arranging of how exactly you want it to sound and the final product, that's where it gets really difficult. But I think getting into the flow of things, if you have certain ways to do that, I think it really helps,
Oh, well, it's been lovely, Will and Olivia, having you both on the Hive this evening. Thanks for your time, and of course, best of luck with the Wasia project and the gig next week at the Fiddler.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
And obviously, best of luck with your future careers as well. I think that you're both going to be very bright anyway with that.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And I'm going to let one of you, would you like to introduce the track from your EP that we're going to play?
Okay.
Should we both do it?
Yeah.
We are the Wasia Project.
And this is Impossible.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Sinking slowly, sinking down.